So what do you guys think though with the AI and music? Because there's a couple ways to look at it. I mean, I think in general, it's probably not a good sign as far as music industry is probably just going to be over, especially as far as big money and how the money was working before. But you know, like with Suno, I have some of the articles pulled up where it's like they've been sued a couple times, and the idea is that they're sued by the major labels for copyright infringement because the idea is they're using the AI, they're training the AI on the major label music, on the copyrighted music. But then it also said they recently announced that they're naming this guy named Jack Brody, who used to be the former head of product at Snapchat, as the chief product officer, and they're getting more. They just launched a new version, and they're also getting more investments. So it raised 125 million from investors, and the new valuation is 500 million.
Wow.
So it's like they're not slowing down. Like they got sued, and because the constitutionality of the copyright idea is that it's not copyright infringement to train something.
Right, as long as it doesn't copy.
It's like if I do a cover, it's like I can, or like if I train you how to sing like Rihanna.
Yeah, but you write something new, then that's okay.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You're training the AI how to create something that already exists. So the training of the AI isn't copyright infringement, but it's like, so are we going to get to a point where like so many songs are being released on Spotify where like it's going to be impossible to not copyright infringement? Like our old catalog is going to be even more valuable because it's like,
I think so.
The older music is going to become more valuable for sure. And it's also going to be one of those things where like it just comes down to ownership. Like you have to own your catalog, release a lot of music, and stay consistent in your sound and like in your like niche. You know what I mean? So people can keep coming back to it. Otherwise, it's like, I don't know.
Those are dumb.
It's going to get really diluted really fast.
Because I just think the Suno thing is interesting because they've been sued. Now they have a legit Snapchat tech guy as the head. And then I go on the website every once in a while. They had a collab with Timbaland.
I saw that.
And then, so it's like
they will get bought out probably by like one of these major labels.
Yeah.
And then that major label will take their whole back catalog and then build like an AI off of their whole catalog
and start dropping thousands of songs.
Yeah, every single day.
A week, yeah.
And then they own all the master rights to all these songs and like these voices and stuff. So it's like we own all of this and we can pump out 1,000 songs a day that are maybe there's one or two that stick out.
Here's the other angle that I've just
it's all a data game now.
I've just been thinking about recently.
Insane.
If you go on Suno, the paid version, anything you create, you own. Right?
Like 100%. There's no
you own. But if you do the free version, you can create like 10 songs a day, but Suno owns it.
Ooh.
So think about that. Imagine if you had a Spotify, but you could create your own songs. But if you do the free version, Spotify owns it. So now it's like every day, and the more users they get, they're generating a bigger and bigger content. Catalog that they own.
That's going to be the game. Catalogs are like, that's crazy.
Because then think about it, if there's a free user generated song that's really catchy, they own it and they can just be like, screw it, we'll put 100 grand into this song, make it a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if it becomes a hit, they're like, sorry.
Yeah, they don't have to pay.
They're like, thanks for promoting it. It's ours.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So interesting.
That's so crazy. I have this other one where they got sued by a German company. They got sued by a German company as well. This came out like last month.
Wow.
So yeah.
Did you see that thing? There was something the other day that was like, out of all the songs on Spotify that are like, I think there's like maybe 200,000 or 120,000 that are every day uploaded or something. And out of all the songs, only like, I think it was like,
I think I did see that.
More than like 50% or 60%, like only get like
100 plays, 1,000 plays.
Like
really?
Under like 100 plays throughout the whole year.
Just like nothing.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre.
Like 40% of the songs that are out there or whatever are like the actual revenues of the music business.
That's crazy. So many songs just getting released.
So many.
With no promotion or no like follow through. Just put it up.
Yeah. How many of those songs
millions and millions and millions and millions?
How many you think are robotic right now or like AI right now?
Oh yeah, probably so many, huh?
I wonder if like you can, you know how like with the Bitcoin, there's these miner companies like Riot or Wolf or whatever, and they like mine the Bitcoin and then they get the Bitcoin. I wonder if there's like a way where like you can create a company and you start acquiring like other people's catalogs and then building your AI to do like what the majors are going to do, but in like a smaller format.
Just make thousands of songs.
Yeah, like every day, like we went from making 1,000 songs a day to now we're making 5,000 songs a day that we're putting out.
Right.
From 5,000 songs to 15,000 songs a day.
And figuring out some way to like categorize them,
Yeah.
promote them.
Right?
Yeah. It's going to be crazy, dude.
Wow.
It's going to be interesting. I think that like organic music will, like live instrumentation will matter more again.
Yeah, it'll be more like
I think people
valuable.
really value like a live band, like like going to see it. You know what I mean? And hearing that stuff. So if you're having, I think that will still matter, even though there will be a lot of dilution and like just so many songs. I think people will still value certain artists and projects and songs or whatever of just like, oh, I want to see that live. And I know that like the only way to hear that live is if this human is playing their instrument and singing it versus it just sounds good recorded.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, I think where's the level where the artists just can't do it anymore, or they have to branch off into a new way of doing business with the economics of it, if that makes sense, because it seems like less and less artists are making a lot of money on the recording side. They're having to like mainly rely on the shows.
For sure. It'll mainly become a live thing for like a lot of like, yeah, if you sing, if you play instruments, it's going to be your revenue is going to be playing live. You know what I mean? If you're like a producer and you just like make electronic songs, your revenue is going to be catalog. That's what I think.
Yep.
I have this article pulled up. I thought it was kind of interesting. So this is Joss Stone and Eurythmics, Dave Stewart. You guys know the Eurythmics. Sweet dreams are made of.
Yep.
Remember those guys?
Yeah.
There's this company called Songbits, and they're revolutionizing music ownership. So basically, fans can purchase. You can a portion of the streaming rights to. This is just like one specific example of their song "Never Forget My Love." It's a revolutionary Web3 company co-founded by Stewart.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's like the idea is fans can own like a portion of the song.
Like your song becomes a stock.
Yeah.
Each individual song.
It seems like they keep pushing for these kinds of
Excuse me.
businesses, but they haven't like fully taken off yet. Because it seemed like that was kind of a thing that
None of
people
them worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it ever will work, or?
I don't know. It's just like the people will have to make the decision to like all switch over, because it's one of those things where like Spotify and Apple or whatever is just so convenient for people. Like nobody wants to like work to listen to music. People want to just do it casually. Most people. There are a lot of like, you know, people that care enough to like, you know, try to support the artist, but the majority of listeners are just lazy. You know what I mean?
What about the idea of, for example, there's a lot of artists that blow up on TikTok. Imagine you blew up on TikTok. You're like, okay, instead of putting this on Spotify or Apple Music, I'm going to put this on Songbits, Web3. You know what I'm saying? And you potentially would make way more money than if you put it on Spotify.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think more artists will do that, or it's just like so much stuff with the entertainment industry and music industry is just like the status quo? Like people feel like I have to do it this way because everybody else is doing it, and if I venture off, then I'm just taking like a huge gamble.
Yeah, then it's.
But if nobody's making if nobody's making money, if like 80% of the artists out there like can't even make money off of streaming because there's like 200,000 songs uploaded a day.
Yeah, you got to find your niche. You got to figure out a way to stand out, whether it's a different app or a different way of releasing music or a different community of people, different style of music, whatever. You got to do something.
And then it also comes down to if you're choosing between, do I want this label to own 20% or 50%
or 80%,
or do I want some of my fans to own a small percentage?
Yeah.
You know, and then they're automatically invested. Because the other thing with streaming is when people listen to it on Spotify or something, it's not the same as when back in the day when you used to buy CDs or buy iTunes singles. It's like the action of you buying that made you invested as a fan.
Yeah.
Like think about any music you physically bought, like even from 20 years ago, something inside your brain is like you're always a fan, unless they did something to piss you off. But
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
versus if you just listen to it on Spotify, it doesn't mean you're a fan.
Yeah, but if you go buy it and you listen to the album, and it's like becomes a thing. Yeah,
You have
sure.
the CD, you're like, well, shit, I spent $10 on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I like them like a little bit,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's a different kind of feeling.
that's true.
So you're saying there are not as many fans like that anymore in today's day and age.
No, I'm saying if the majority of people are using streaming to consume the music, they're not actually physically buying each individual song. So they're consuming a lot of things that they're not necessarily fans of. They might just be casually listening to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Web3 thing, I think, is more like pushing. It's like a different business. Is the idea is like
Yeah.
a fan is buying the song or they're buying equity in the song.
I think that's cool.
They're
Yeah,
like bought in.
Cool. It's probably like obviously like less people to hear it, but the people that hear it maybe become bigger fans, more attached to the music and to the project. You know, so
Yeah.
whatever works. Try different things out. To all new artists.
So how much longer do you guys think we have till the music industry is just completely imploded and we got like 3-4 years or?
I think it's just going to change. I don't know if it implodes, but it's definitely going to be just like a different business model, you know? But it seems to happen to music every, 10 years, 15 years? I don't know. So we'll see. Things are definitely going to switch
I think
up.
it will end whenever Spotify launches like an AI music generative tool. Like whenever like you can go on your Spotify and like type in like what you want to listen to and have it all be new AI songs that you've never heard before.
Oh yeah, that'll hurt.
Yeah. I
That'll
think that's what they
hurt.
want.
That'll hurt. That'll hurt a lot of
Yeah.
musicians. But yeah. Yeah.
Because Spotify's been collecting all your data for like decades of what you listen to personally, and once they figure out whatever that loophole is to get around, then they will have that. I think that the Spotify guy has talked about like wanting to do that.
Good.
You don't seem sure that's
I
a
mean,
good thing.
No, it's not so good. I don't think so.
Because you can at least probably like half like at least. Or I mean, but I don't know.
I
Some
just
of
think
those
you gotta-
AI songs are like not the best, but there are sometimes I hear one I'm like,
They're
oh,
getting
this
better.
is so good,
They're getting
dude.
better. They're definitely getting better. You just got to be able to adapt, you know? And at the end of the day, you just got to like enjoy making music because you like making music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what,
You gotta
that's
have
what
fun
it comes
with
down
it,
to.
dude.
You got to have fun with it. Obviously, if the well runs dry and no musician can make money, then that becomes a problem. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out a way to adapt, like in anything in life, and continue to make music because you like doing it, you know? But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the business side of it works over the next few years. Maybe it helps. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, maybe it does help.
Who knows? You never know, dude.
You can put out one AI album a year and one like authentic human made album a year.
Yeah, maybe we make a lot more music with the help of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see.
But is it? I'm super torn because in one perspective, it's a volume game because you can make music so much cheaper and quicker. But then on the other hand, there's so much music that gets uploaded that it's less of a volume game because you can't just put out a song every week and expect the songs to rise above the 100,000 songs that get uploaded.
yeah, you have to find the song that you really like believe in. That like is doing well that you can like really push, right?
Well, or think about this though. It's if it's all just the more songs you put out, the more market share you have. If you could put out most songs, you can control almost majority of the market share of the music business. So if you could put out like 100,000 songs a day just as yourself with the help of AI tools right now, you would probably become the biggest label in the world because you would own at least 50% of the market share
If you just
of
do
like
it.
new additive music. Now the odds of you also breaking from one of those songs in that market share is going to be like way higher.
If you have promo.
100,000 every day, you know? 'Cause I think Universal is the biggest distributor right now.
Well,
in like major label releases per week.
it's interesting because I think if you take the typical music industry and you obviously people compare it to like CD sales, so like well, nobody makes money off streaming anymore, but then the cost of recording music goes down. Like let's say we have an advantage or we've had an advantage over the last few years because we're producers, so we're able to make high quality music cheaper than somebody that has to rely on a whole team of producers, be in the studio for like 3 days in a row, where the studio costs
Pay
like
that
1,200.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
true.
for us, if maybe it's like a realistic thing, we're like, yeah, we can make a really high quality record for like $5,000 or something. You know what I'm saying? And or 10 grand or something, and blah blah blah. But if you can generate things with AI, then does the new music business become, like you said, I'm gonna release, instead of I release 12 songs this year, I'm gonna release 1,000 songs this year, and they don't need to get 1 million plays each. They could get 10,000 plays each. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. That'd be weird, but I'm just spitballing here.
What you said right now. So you said earlier that the Suno, if you have the credits, you own it. So maybe you will actually get better songs, because there will be like songwriters that could like type out what the kind of production
Like
they
train
want.
it specifically based off of how they would write.
Yeah,
You know?
and then just write over it, like, you know, if they own the record and they can put out that record, they don't have to pay for the production or anything.
Yeah, it's gonna get wild.
Really
dude.
interesting.
Because if you think about what you were saying, you combine the data of Spotify, the user data, where they know algorithmically what each user likes to listen to. And then you combine that with the AI creation tools of Suno. Then when you have like your curated playlist that caters to you, but they're all generated by Spotify, then the amount
Dude, it's crazy.
then all of a sudden you know what I'm saying, you could have a new playlist every day that's curated, and it's like simultaneously learning and adapting the creation based off of the algorithmic data.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas Suno, you just have the tools, and then you're just having to click the button 1 million times until if you can make 100 generations, then out of 100, you'll be like, this one's actually pretty sick. But they're not utilizing user data of like what people like. They're just basing it off of songs that already exist.
Right.
So I'm saying, if those get combined, aren't we just completely screwed?
Right. Well, yeah, who knows? Suno could be releasing songs, you know, quietly and figuring out what's getting traction organically right now.
Yeah, they probably are. Dude.
You know what I mean? And then using those songs to retrain, and using the ones that the ones that get the most attention, retrain those, forget the ones that no one likes.
Yeah.
Keep getting better. It's probably happening.
100%.
You know what I mean? On a small
That is
scale.
really weird to think about.
Yeah. There's no big artist yet. There's no like Drake that's an AI person yet, right? Or like there's no Weeknd releasing an AI album, right?
No.
Yet. So like it's in a weird place, because you can't think of one artist that's like doing this yet, right?
Yeah.
Definitely there's some sort of market share going towards it, but they're like really small, or it's just like 1,000 songs spread out so thinly that you don't even know who they are, right? But it's like, it'll be interesting to figure out who the first big artist is that integrates it in a big way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's my
That would
thought
be
process
interesting.
too. There's a lot of hype right now about, I think it's pronounced Anima. He's at the Sphere. He's been selling out all these shows. The visuals are insane. And I think from what I see, the show looks amazing. I actually really like his music too. There's videos of him performing, and let's be real, he's pretty much just standing up there. And the big allure of the show is the music and the visuals. That's like 99% of the show. There's nothing that he's doing on stage that's like, wow, I love his energy. I love how he's interacting with the crowd. That's why I'm there. Could there be an Anima style or experience that's not a person? Would people go and watch that? Would people go watch Anima?
That'll happen.
So is that the next generation that we kind of think is ridiculous, but we're like one step away from that?
That'll definitely happen for electronic music.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that like if you're just like a curator and you're able to curate this amazing music or produce amazing music, and you can figure out this really cool live show visually, like you said, they don't really care if somebody's standing there. Like they probably right now they do, it's like whatever, but eventually it's going to be to the point where like it's just, if it's a cool show visually and like the sound system's great, and then I know what music I'm going to be hearing, you don't really care at a certain point. Probably in a few years, 5.
I don't think I
10
would
years.
care right now. Like,
If it was Anima or whatever, if you went to the Sphere and you just wanted to go see
I wouldn't
the
care.
visuals and listen to the music, no, you wouldn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In that sort of sense.
Yeah.
The Grateful Dead at the Sphere, you want to see them play. But the electronic music, it's like, it doesn't really matter. in that sense, in that sort of setting where it's like so beyond just a person standing up there. It's like it's way larger than that, you know? We'll see.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, couldn't potentially say 5, 6, 7 years, there could be a fully major label owned artist that's just AI artist. They don't even exist. The labels can cut out.
Yes.
Like, screw having to pay my 20% to this physical person artist that's gonna bitch at me, gonna try to cancel me every 5 years. They're gonna audit me.
Yeah, but it comes down to the label being able to be creative, which is never their strong suit. You know what I mean? So it's like it comes down to somebody being creative, coming up with all of this stuff, and then the label buying them out. You know what I mean?
But that's but the creative is the AI doing it.
If the AI can get to that,
if they can figure out a way to like,
Yeah.
if they can figure out a way to hone it, I still think it's gonna take a creative person to like hone it. You know, make sure it all makes sense together, curate it.
So then the battle becomes between, which I think we've been in the last, 4 to 6 years. It's like the creatives battling the label heads. I mean, we've seen it the last couple of years, all the layoffs, there's a restructuring that's happening.
Yeah.
These normal label deals aren't happening as often or as in the open where it's like, I own you now. There's like more deals, different styles of deals that can happen.
Yeah, more hidden.
So is that the battle that's happening, and we need to see who's going to come out? Because like you said, there's definitely creative people like a Kanye. There's definitely visionary artists that could make that happen, and using the creative tools can create a next level experience and own all of it, or at least own a majority of it.
Yeah. I don't know. And I also think that people are kind of catching on to things like through TikTok and whatever else that fans don't necessarily love the idea of like, the major labels owning everything, and they want to give more power to people and artists that are independent or whatever else. So hopefully things like that benefit, musicians as well, as opposed to just the monster major labels just buying and owning every single thing. I think that people not like listening to it and not getting into it, not promoting it will become a thing too. You know? People care. They try to, at least, unlike things like TikTok and whatever else.
If you like that clip and want to see another one, click here. If you want to see the full podcast, click here.